Hello. Today we are having this conversation with Elena Paⵡįta about how to boost your personal brand through a TED Talk. We are going to cover several topics, but first let's introduce ourselves. So, welcome, Elena. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, hello, Reme. Thank you very much for inviting me to this live session. And it's a pleasure speaking about personal branding and about TEDx stage because I love those topics. So I am a communication coach and consultant, and I work in the topics of communication, leadership, and public speaking. I am organizing TEDx events for the last 10 years in Poland. I'm based in Poland. And I have been coaching speakers and helping people to get on TEDx stages, to become TEDx speakers. Also I work at the university and working with students and with young people on their communication and leadership topics. So this is more or less what I do. I also run a podcast called IDEAS+LEADERS on leadership.
Amazing. So for me, just to do also a short intro, I am Reme Mancera and I am a personal brand strategist. And I am focusing on connecting your personal brand story to the benefits of what you said. And to me, it's really important to see how stories can have an impact in our businesses and in our audience, because it can be inspiring for them and it can be that little push that they need to get to the next step. So that's why I always repeat this message that your story is relevant and worth telling. So let's dive into the topic of today. Maybe let's start about analyzing why having participating in a tech talk could be something that helps your personal brand and your authority positioning, right?
Yes, definitely. It is definitely so, because TED is, I think, the most or one of the most popular conferences in the world. This stage is so famous because it is really hard to get on the stage and to become a speaker, because they have several criteria of how to become a speaker. And being an organizer myself, I can see that we have hundreds and hundreds of applications to our stages, and we choose only several of them. So it is that if you already get there on this stage, it means that you really have something interesting to say, that you are a credible speaker, that you are an expert in your field. So having a TEDx talk in your bio, it definitely raises your credibility, and it shows that you are an authority in your field.
Yeah, and also something that is from the side of the personal brand, something interesting also is to think about the authority. There is like three levels of them. It's like the authority that I feel as a professional or as a specialist, the authority that you are projecting, and also the authority that is perceived, and how others perceive us. And I feel like if you have a TEDx as one of the milestones of your career, that is something that automatically will position, like up level your positioning, in my opinion, because it's, as you say, you have something to say. It's that there is this process to select the person, so it's not something just like that. And I feel also, I don't know, I would like to know your opinion on this, like for the person itself, just going through this process and being able to, and being accepted to go into the stage, that will be also a boost for your confidence and your inner authority, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think also the whole preparation process, because either if you're working with a coach like myself or someone else who is preparing you for a big stage, or if the event has its mentors and is preparing you for this big stage. So having this process and going through this process, it is a boost of your confidence in public speaking, boost of your credibility. And it is really, especially for this stage, it is really important to be prepared. I mean, for your personal brand, it is really important to be prepared for every stage, even for a very small stage. It is really important to be prepared, to work on your script, to work on your slides, to repeat it several times. Because every time you speak in public, especially at such a big conference, people perceive you in a certain way. And do you want to be perceived as a person who is not prepared, or slides are not working, or oh, I forgot to say this? Or do you want to be perceived as a confident speaker and an expert? So definitely this is the tool through which we can work on this element of our personal brand. How do we want to be perceived, and what do I want to show others? How do I want to be perceived by others?
Yeah, absolutely. So going a little bit more into the how to prepare yourself before a TED Talk, what will be your main tips or the things that you don't want to miss that?
So I definitely recommend to think about your idea worth spreading, because this is something that is the most important for the TED stage. If you are an expert in a certain field, it does not mean that you have a new interesting idea in this field, because sometimes we are experts because we learned something. We read a lot of books, we have certificates, we have experience of working with people, and we are experts in business in a certain area, but it doesn't mean that we have a new idea worth spreading. So it is very important to look for something new, something interesting, something relevant for the audience, and also something that you're credible in. It is very important to combine those elements. And another thing that I would recommend is definitely work with someone and find yourself a coach, as in everything. When I was preparing for a marathon, I had a running coach. When I went to the gym, I have my gym coach who showed me all the exercises and how they should be properly done. When I started my online business, I had an online business coach. So when you're going to the TEDx stage, and it is a very important thing, as we already discussed, for your personal brand, you definitely need a coach to work with. Me, myself, as I am working with other speakers, but to tell you the truth, when I did my TED Talks, because I had 2 TEDx talks myself, I had a coach. Because even being an expert in a certain field, you cannot do it as good as with help of others. So I had, even for one of my TED Talks, I even had 2 coaches, experts in different fields, and I asked them for feedback, and I worked on the script, and I practiced the speech with them. So it is really important to always have someone supporting you. It might be a coach, or it might be your buddy, or your husband or wife, or a sister or brother. So someone who can help you in the preparations. Then I think if you have a great idea and you really take preparation seriously, then those 2 elements can work together and you'll have a great TED Talk.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I know that you have been a speaker yourself. I want to ask you about your own preparation process. So thank you for sharing that already. Yeah, so then what would you think is, like, in your experience, what the struggles, where the people struggle most? Like, what are the pieces of the preparation that maybe people are finding more challenging?
So I think that the biggest piece and the most important part of the preparation is finding the idea. And even me, myself, for many years, I was organizing TEDx events. I was behind the scenes, behind the stage. And people would ask me, so you are doing TEDx's all the time. Why don't you speak yourself? And I said, I don't have the idea worth spreading. I don't know what to speak about. And for many years, I was just, I could speak, but I don't know what to speak about. But then I wrote my PhD thesis, and I wrote a book. So I kind of had this new input into the area that I'm an expert in. And I said, hey, now I have idea. I have a lot of ideas because I did my research. And then I applied to events, and both of the events accepted me because I know how to write applications. So I would definitely recommend to focus on the idea. What is this new thing that you can come up with in your industry? What differentiates you? And then only after this, start doing the draft and thinking of how you will start with impact and what slides you will show, because people start from a different perspective. When I work with my clients, very often we start with them showing me their slides. I'm like, I don't want to see your slides. What is your main idea? What is your main message that you want to share? And then they start thinking, oh, I want to share this and this and this and this. And then we need to take this all together and think on one clear main message. And only then we can start planning the structure, planning the draft, planning the speech, then thinking about the slides in the end, and thinking about some special effects like impactful opening or closing or jokes. So we start from the end very often with I want to open with an impactful question. And then I'm like, okay, question is great, but what is your main idea? So I think that this is very important to stick to the process of preparation, start from the very beginning with the idea, and then continue from this very small thing to the bigger things as a speech and your special effects on the stage.
And this is funny because I think in different aspects of our businesses or the things that we do, like, for example, doing public speaking, sometimes when it's something that we don't know, we tend to go to the end part and focus on the end instead of the beginning and the foundations that are like so important, right?
Yeah, because this is what we see, right? When we're looking at the TED Talk, at the final version, we see an impactful opening, and someone is standing and joking in the beginning or asking a question, and then we start thinking about this, or then we remember a story that was told, and they like, I want to tell a story, but the story is just one of the ways and one of the means that you can use to speak about your main idea. I think that it is very similar to building your personal brand, actually, because you cannot just start posting whatever. You need to have your strategy. You need to have your core message that you want to share. You need to have what you want to sell. And only then you start building the strategy, and then you start thinking what to post and what to say and so on. So the same process, more or less.
Yeah. I think that when you have your foundations, doesn't matter if, for example, let's say social media change. If there is a new channel, you will know what is the message, what is the idea that you want to share. And then you will find out the best way of deliver that in that platform, in that space, like if it's a TED Talk, for example. But first, it's like, okay, what is the main message that you want to spread, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And since you mentioned the stories, one of the pieces that with my clients, I work a lot in focusing a lot in personal brand story. So what is your experience in combining your personal brand story as a business owner in your tech talk. So how is that process of where you are using your story as a bridge for sharing your idea or amplifying your idea?
Yeah, so TED Talks is a great place to kind of promote your personal brand and share something about yourself and add credibility to your personal brand. But also it is very important not to overdo it, because TED is all about being ad free and being promotion free. So when we are speaking about ourselves, we cannot promote our courses, books, programs, products, and so on. So we can just speak about the area that we're speaking about, the idea, the main message. But what we can do is we can build our credibility as a speaker through speaking about our experience, through telling stories. For example, how we came up with this idea, when and where and how did we start thinking about it or start being an expert in a certain field. So I think that we could mention certain things, but it definitely should not be the center of the speech, because TEDx organizers are very careful about it, so that there is no promotion and no sales on the stage. Because during other conferences, business conferences, it is always, we can share something about ourselves, and then in the end we can invite someone to buy our products, to show our book, for example. And TED, they're a little bit careful with this, so we need to be careful with sharing our stories as well, but definitely we need to share the elements of credibility, because especially when we're doing a persuasive speech, and TEDx talk is a persuasive speech. So we have an idea, we need to persuade others that they need to do something, to change something, to start doing something or stop doing something. And it is very important in the persuasive speech to build your credibility, to build up your credibility as a speaker or as a leader, if you're speaking to your team, for example. That's why we need to use our stories. We need to use our past experiences that will show that, yes, I went through this, I've been there, and now I am credible enough to share this message with you. So those elements can definitely be combined.
Yeah, it made me think about, because in the framework that I use with my clients, there are 10 story connectors, so 10 moments of your journey that you can use to highlight different things from your offering and from what is important to you. And one of them is connected to your main value. So what is one of your values as a business owner and as a person? And we work together to identify one of the moments of your story that is connected to that. In that way, I think that could be a story that you can bring, and it's not about selling, it's about what are your values, what is important to you, why you are helping that specific group of people. So what is your connection with your audience? That kind of stories is not that much about you as your success as a business owner, but it's about the context of who you are and why you do what you do and why you do in your unique way, right? So I feel that maybe that type of stories can be useful in this case, where there are not space for promoting directly, but there are space for bringing stories that illustrate who you are.
Yes, absolutely. It is. It is worth sharing such elements, but also if it is in line with your main message, it is very important to always make sure that everything that you're sharing is in line with your main message. Because if you want to speak about something that is not about your values or not about your activity, what you do, then maybe it is better not to mention those things. But I think that in general, when people share their ideas, they are usually very much in line with their values. So absolutely, we can share that.
Yeah. So what I heard from that is like always have in mind your message. So what is the idea that you want to spread, and make sure that everything is aligned and everything is helping to build up that idea, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think that this is the crucial thing for every presentation, every public appearance, or even every conversation. When you communicate one-on-one, is to have your main idea in mind, your main message, and to be consistent in sticking to it. Because very often we have so many problems in communication just because we're not able to convey what we want to say in a clear and concise way. And I think that TEDx platform is forcing us to do this, because we just have 15 minutes, we have 10 minutes sometimes, so not so much time. And we need to convey one idea during this time. So we don't have time to tell long stories and to go off the topic and then, oh, I forgot what I was speaking about. So we don't have time for this. We just need to have one message, to have several arguments that support this message, and then it will be a success if we manage to do this.
Nice. Yeah. So what would you say is the main thing that people need to consider for after? So they have gone through the process, they have been selected, done the tech talk. What is your suggestion for doing after? So it's help to keep boosting and improving your personal brand perception.
So first of all, I would recommend to make sure that your talk is out and your talk is published and it is of a good quality, because I heard many, because I'm working with TED speakers, and I've heard many stories that, for example, someone gave a TED talk and then they didn't publish it because they had problems with production company, or they published it but the sound was so poor that it is almost not audible. And those stories are so sad, because people really spend lots of time preparing those talks and counting on this platform, and then such things happen. So I had several stories myself during my events that, for example, one speaker made a mistake during his speech and he mentioned a different date. He didn't tell 17th century, but he told 20th century, something like this. And he said, no, I don't want this to be published because it undermines my credibility as an expert. It was a mistake. So what I want to do is I will re-record this sound. I will send it to you. And if you can put the new sound to this place. And we did it. So this speaker was very proactive in how he wants to be perceived by others. And he made sure that the final product that was published was perfect. And this is what I recommend you to do if you are speaking at any platform, especially at a TED platform. Make sure that the sound is good, that there are no weird things in front of the camera, that you don't have any mistakes, that if you had mistakes, they are being cut out from this recording, and then it is finally published. So if you make sure that those things are done and the talk is published, then you can think about promoting your talk and marketing yourself and putting TEDx speaker in your bio, planning some content around your talk, maybe writing some articles based on your main idea, because then you will have more space to expand on this idea, because during a TED talk you don't have a lot of time to speak about, you just have one idea and limited amount of time. So then you can write additional articles, you can write additional content. So I would really recommend to promote your talk, because if it's out there but no one sees it, then what's the point? And if you make it as a part of your personal brand and you ask people to comment, you ask people to share, then it will be really useful piece of content that can be a part of your personal brand.
Yeah, I love that insights. And this is something that also I feel that this happens in several aspects of personal brand, that there is a lack of repetition. So we feel that we share something once and it's okay. No, keep sharing it in different ways, different formats, and keep reminding people about that, because it's also a great piece of content. So you have the opportunity. You were, as you said before, preparing for this for so long, and like really putting attention to the details. So you want to leverage on that work that you did, so you can keep sharing it in the future, or even making reference to that. Keep using in different ways. In my opinion,
Yes,
that's something. Yes, sorry.
and I have an interesting story on this topic, because I've been doing TEDx coaching for, I don't know, 4 years, maybe 5 years, so for quite a long time now. And I've been posting about it a lot, and I've been doing webinars and launching programs. So in my opinion, I'm like all over the place, because I have different, social media. But I had recently, a couple of months ago, I had a situation that one of the ladies who is in my network, and we've been doing some projects together, and she's writing to me. I think I was launching one of the programs, TEDx programs, several months ago, and she saw one of my posts probably, and she's writing to me, "Oh, I had no idea that you're doing TEDx coaching. It is so great, because I just want to do a TED talk." And now we're working together for a couple of months now. But it was so funny for me that, in my opinion, I'm like all over the place, and okay, maybe it's too much that I'm sharing 2 posts per week. Maybe I have to share 1 post per week. And then suddenly someone says, "Oh, I had no idea." And I'm like, really? So what you're sharing is completely true, that we need to repeat, we need to reach out there, because our posts are not reaching that far. In newsletters also, there is only a certain percentage of people that sees it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny how these kind of situations are eye-opening to us. It's like, oh, maybe I was not repeating myself as much as I thought. And I can keep talking about this topic, and being sure that others know about what I do and how I can help them. So, for whom would you think is a good idea to try to be a TED speaker?
I think that for everyone who has an interesting and new idea to share, because very often my clients are experts in certain areas and business owners that are doing interesting things and doing things differently. So yes, if you want to build to work on your personal brand, and to expand your personal brand, to reach more people, to produce a piece of viral content, then definitely I would go for a TED stage. But also, on the other hand, if you are thinking that, oh, I don't have anything to share, I don't have anything interesting to share, and I prefer to stay in the shadow, then maybe you can also think of a new perspective or a new idea that you have, that you can share with others, that could inspire others, and that could change the world to be a better place. Because, to be honest, on our stages, on my stages, we don't only have experts and scientists and researchers and business owners. We have a lot of people who are for whom it is their first public appearance. And their talks, very often they go viral because they are doing amazing things, but they're not sharing about it everywhere. So I think that definitely TED Stage is the best place if you want to build your personal brand, but also if you have an amazing idea to share, then also go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We are focusing here on the personal brand, but of course, even if you are a business owner, but your idea is not related to that, it's totally fine, and go for it, because if it's an idea that is worth spreading, go for it, because that's the point, like the mission of that idea and what change can bring, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we had several situations like this, that we invited experts in certain areas to speak, and then they spoke about something else and something completely different, and it was beautiful. For example, in one of my events, we invited a famous radio DJ, and she was very well-known person and media personality. And she said, I don't want to speak about media, about radio, about any things like this. I want to speak about adopting old dogs from the shelter, because this is what she does. This is what she did for many years. And she would adopt an old dog and just help this dog in the last years of its life. And she shared amazing stories of her own dogs, and she would inspire others, and people literally had tears in their eyes as she was speaking. And I think that this was really an idea worth spreading. So it does not matter for TED. It doesn't matter if you're famous or not, if you're in media or not, if you wrote a book or not, if you have business or not. So you literally don't have to be anyone to do anything. If you have a great idea, then it is enough, and I would go for it.
Lovely, and it's a beautiful message to share. So for someone that is watching this and is thinking about becoming a TED speaker, and how can you help them more? How can they find more about you? I know that you have something coming tomorrow, so please talk about that as well.
Yes, I have a webinar tomorrow that is about becoming a TEDx speaker. It is free. We already have over 2,000 people that signed up for this webinar. I can see that the topic is hot because many people are thinking about this stage, but they don't know this, bureaucracy and the what is going on behind the stage. So I'm going to share the behind the stage information of how you can get on the stage. And also you can work with me. It is possible to just book a call and either sign up for my program that I'm launching every couple of months, a group program, or you can work with me one-on-one, and I can support you with your TED Talks and with your other important presentations.
Nice. So thank you very much for all the insights and all the tips that you have shared, and how you have helped us to have a better idea and understanding of how this looks like. We will share all the links in the description, so people have the option to connect with you and learn more about what you do. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you, Reme. Thanks for the invite, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Bye.